should be comfortable with it. Just there you go.
It's a good rule of thumb.
You know, when I said that the writers and showrunners learned nothing from their mistakes in the first season, that was an observation, not a challenge. One of the biggest problems in the first season was the glacial pacing. The show dragged along for 8 episodes, and that returned in full force for episode 3 of the second season. It's like the show is paced in deep time. 10 minutes feels like an hour, and I don't know why. I've watched the episodes twice, and even sped up, the pacing feels slow. This is one of the things that lost viewers in the first season, so it's shocking that the show wouldn't fix this. However, the pacing wasn't what caught people's eye when this episode came out. No, it was the family of orcs. Even though everyone knew this was coming, scores of people lost their minds complaining about it, and just embarrassing themselves making wild claims about Tolkien's works. So, first things first, yes, Tolkien said that orcs can have babies. I saw lots of self-professed Tolkien fans claiming this wasn't true.
It's fair to say that Rings of Power Season 2 hasn't exactly gotten off to a flying start, with the first 3 episodes being one of the most tediously punishing slogs of my entire career, but that's okay because things are about to kick into high gear at last with episode 4. So strap in and get ready for some high-octane scenes like people walking through forests, people walking through deserts, other people walking through forests.
Rings of Power has returned to torture tens of televisions across the globe. Yes, indeed, the bloated Amazon Middle-earth fanfiction returns for a second season, with Rotten Tomatoes once again shilling out at 86%. But just like a mud bath, the truth shall be revealed. The advertising for the show is absolutely killing it. I mean it. There shouldn't be a single person left who wants to watch it after this. That'll definitely get the 70-year-old soap opera grandmas to tune in. What did Shooter McGavin say could draw a crowd? A golfer with his arm growing out of his ass? The dumpster fire first season could only retain a third of its audience, but they're contractually obligated to waste hundreds of millions of dollars on 5 seasons of this trash. Finding something good to say about Rings of Power is like finding the best angle to stare at a bucket of piss. It retains every single issue it had when the first season hit in 2022.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
And the newest argument for shithead shills is that it's not as bad as season 1. That's the argument, and the crowd went mild. If Gandalf actually had to participate in this, he'd change professions for God's sake. Maybe that's just my excuse to use that meme again, but hey, it's at least better than the show itself. So what is wrong with it? Well, nearly every character is a shallow shell of themselves from a previous iteration, or they're made up for the show and have absolutely nothing to do with Lord of the Rings, making this a near billion-dollar fanfiction. The dialogue might be the most cringe in television history. Even if She-Hulk or The Acolyte is worse overall, this show is a disgrace to its source material.
The first of the magical objects that give the Lord of the Rings of Power its name finally made an appearance at the end of Season 1. And in Season 2 of this prequel to J.R.R. Tolkien's fantasy epic, they live up to their promise to transform Middle-earth. When showrunners Patrick McKay and J.D. Payne focus on the duplicity and scheming surrounding the rings or the impact they have on their wearers, the Rings of Power delivers poignant drama that delves into the perils of self-deception and hubris. No matter how bright those scenes shine, they're dulled by tangential plots that do nothing but set up future seasons, especially during the early episodes.
No! This is what Sauron wants!
I felt bound to try and do something special.
You must remain calm at the storm's height.
Sauron may be the Lord of the Rings, but that title and the role of Season 2's main character could also be claimed by the Elvin Smith Lord.
I'm pretty sure the showrunners are trying to take over Ba Sing Se. They're still doing the goofy name pronunciation thing. Like, I don't think you're gonna hear this many rolled R's in downtown Barcelona. But it would be great if you pressed the like button. That was solid, like Mithril. We pick up right after the end of the first season, and these writers are doing something that I'm not sure any of you have seen before. They're breaking brand new ground here, taking a huge risk, charting completely unmapped writing territory. Like, did Idina Menzel join the staff? Because we're going into the unknown. I hope you're sitting down. They're giving backstory to Sauron and the Orcs so that you wonder if they really are the evil bad guys. Yes, this fresh concept is called moral relativism, where we give the bad guys a fleshed out backstory so they seem sympathetic. Like, I was getting exhausted by the constant use of this idea in media, but now I'm starting to kind of get angry about it. Like, I'm reaching for the tinfoil because it seems odd that the overwhelming majority of villains now are misunderstood, or we get a prequel that reveals it was the hero that actually bullied them and is the real villain or whatever. It's really beginning to feel deliberate. Or, I'm trying to be optimistic, maybe it's just a shared psychosis by a group of people who all work in the same town that's full of degeneracy. Like, I mean,
War has come to Middle-earth.
This is the work of Sauron.
Our armies cannot defeat him. Once the deceiver obtains a being's trust, he gains the ability to sculpt their very thoughts. You are wise to fear these rings. In Sauron's hands, they could work an evil beyond
Deserts. But wait, there's more. Want to know where Gandalf learned to use magic instead of being an angelic demigod who was specifically sent down to Earth with all the skills and knowledge that he already needed?
Gandalf!
Want to know the origins of the Shire, and that it was almost certainly discovered by a strong female Harfoot? Want to see Soy Boy Isildur and Don Lemonlass get swallowed by a mud monster and then immediately escape so that they can have a good laugh about the experience? Want to see Guy Ladriel finally throw off the shackles of the elf patriarchy and go full girl boss for the first time this season? Then you're in for a treat indeed.
With its faux Tolkien dialogue. Almost like the show absolutely hates the creator of the sandbox the writers are playing in. The second season continues to live off nostalgia for Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy. It certainly doesn't like to reference the ass Hobbit movies, no. It sticks to the good stuff, because there's nothing like reminding an audience of something better than what they're watching. The dialogue is so horrendous, there isn't an actor alive who could turn this pig into anything redeemable. It's hard to say if the cast is awful. I mean, they're definitely awful in the show, but I don't know if they're adding calories to the mukbang because they hired essential unknowns for the majority of the roles. A production full of unknowns is obviously totally fine in its own right, but with a budget of $500 million for the first season, you'd think some of that might go to adding a bit of pedigree to the cast. And all in all, the show is insufferably boring. By each episode's end, I was begging for these false finishes to stop. I'd sigh in relief that it was over, then it'd move on to the next slow motion shot of a character doing just to torture me that much more. I watched episode 1 and 2 on an airplane and thought they might pull an emergency landing.
War has come to Middle-earth.
This is the work of Sauron.
Our armies cannot defeat him. Once the deceiver obtains a being's trust, he gains the ability to sculpt their very thoughts. You are wise to fear these rings. In Sauron's hands, they could work an evil beyond reckoning.
Region must not fall. It would be a mortal blow for all Middle-earth.
Sooner or later, Sauron's eye bores a hole. The rest of him slithers in. You sought peace. I gave it to you. This is hardly a gift. What have you done to me?
What have you done to me?
Who are you? Truly, I am the one keeping the storm at bay. Sauron is my enemy as much as yours. I can help you destroy him.
I will not stop until this is put right.
Every soul in the seen or unseen world will know that it was you who was the architect of their demise. At this moment, the great tale of our age is being written.
You think it was only you who put yourself in my power? Galadriel.